All right. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of women members of Excellence Committee of ICAI, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to Yashaswini and Idol Series 46. Yashaswini and Idol is a Wednesday series of program conducted by WMEC from for the women CAs and by the women CAs. This series is an extension of Sky High Symposium with concluded its 100 episodes. It is one of the committee's initiatives to not only disseminate information to women members on technical updations and non technical skills, but also to empower and inspire women members to come at forefront and their verbal skills to public forum. All right. So let's welcome our today's guest, CA Sangeeta Kumar ma'am, a fellow member of ICAI with over 15 years of experience in statutory audit, taxation, and performance audit. Has also served as CFO of HAL JV Company. She is an independent director for four listed companies actively involved with charitable trust and NGOs. Today, she will provide us insights on social audit. So we welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shobna, for my introduction. I'll just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, members. A warm welcome each and every one of you present here. I'm thankful to WMAC committee for giving me an opportunity to speak on the subjects of insights into the social audit. In this topic, I will cover what is the definition of social audit and what are its historical backgrounds, its evolution, its principles of social audit. One case study I will take, one Magnera case study I will take, and then I will followed by the elements of social audit. While doing the social audit, certain terms has to be understood. I will take, and some key highlights of SEBI circulars and with the WG and TG committee recommendations. Then how the implement of social auditor is made with SROs. SR are the self-regulatory organizations. Then I will take the fundamental principles of social auditors, and ICI standards and guidelines will also be covered. After that, it is will followed by the international scenario. What is the international globally, how the social audit is done? All I will cover in that. And certain tax policy which is related to social enterprises, NPO, NGOs, and what will be the challenges is available in India, and once followed by the conclusion. See, mainly the social audit is done to evaluate and verify the outcomes of any outcomes of any policy or program of a government. The what the policy and programs are there with the government, that are evaluated by the social auditor in simple terms. And what is the outcome? Outcome of qualitative related to government policy or the program. It means it is in-depth screening of analyze of working of public utility and its relevance. The process involves and assess the demonstration, its economic, social, and environment benefits and limitations. Our technical guide of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India has defined the social audit. It will cover the social audit is way of measuring, underlying the reporting, and ultimately improving an organization's performance and ethical performance. Mainly the ethical performance. Social audit helps the fill the narrow gap between vision, goal, and reality, and between its effectiveness. So this, who was the father of social audit? Who was the first person to discover the social audit? Krebs Theodore, an academician, is regarded as the father of social audit in 1940s. CREP has called upon the companies to acknowledge the responsibility towards the responsibility of social to the social responsibility towards the citizens. Some always there was confusion with the types of audit. Like what are different types of audit, like often the social audit is confused with the financial audit, CAG audit, or proprietary audit. So financial audit, as everyone knows, it is the independent review of the company's financial statement, and to ensure the accurate financial statement comply with the law. Whereas the CAG audit mainly done with a procedure. It is a procedure designed from the point of view of government and the taxpayers, and not from the point of view of the beneficiaries of the government. The beneficiaries are the stakeholders. From their point of view, the CAG audit are not done, but the social audit covers this flaws. So similarly, proprietary audit, we can say that it is described as the audit of actions and resolution by the executives. Mainly the proprietary audit is done to study the government money, how it is invested, how their effectiveness, like public interest. Those the money which is affecting the public interest are covered under the proprietary audit. Proprietary audit, who can do? Proprietary audit is done by the Controller and Auditor General of India. Other auditors can also perform the proprietary audit. So there is a, in case a historical, what is the historical background of our social audit? Mainly there is always a question where we have started the social audit, why we have started the social audit, where it has started. All this is the basic things for social audit has to be understood. So in 1953, Howard R. Bonney of USA was the first proposed the social audit. In his articles, he has led the social responsibility of businessmen, and in 1950s, he started the concept of social audit. And in 1970s, United Kingdom was the country which has described the evolution focused on mainly on the job community. They have focused mainly on the job community and the environment. So there only one initiative, only one social sector they have taken on jobs, community, and environment. Way back when we come to India, Tisco was the first company who has started the social audit in Jamshedpur. The Tisco has started the social audit in their own house, their in-house development they have taken. They appoint their own employees, their own policies, their own procedures, and they have to report to the management. It was the first corporate entity to undertake the social audit. Similarly, in 1990, MKSS, who is the MKSS? MKSS is Mazdoor Kisan's Shakti Sangathan, is in mid 90 at Rajasthan. They have started the social audit. The social audit is done by the CSO organization. CSO organization or civil society organization. They have done the social audit. They have started the social audit in form of Jan Sunwai. What is Jan Sunwai? Jan Sunwai means public hearing. What they did, what this CSO organization did, they have got their government documents, and those government document of what? Government document of policy or a program. They have taken the government documents related to policy and program were scrutinized in open public, where the people were invited, like panchayat members and other local representatives were openly invited, and the implementation of a policy and programs are read out, and any flaws are there is highlighted, and then there and there only the resolution was solved. So immediately all the queries in open public are resolved. This procedure was followed in 1990 by the CSO organizations. So you can say that that was the stage of social audit. In 2005, government has legalized the social audit in the form of Magnera. This is one act they have laid down. In 2005, they have recognized the Magnera through Magnera. So in 2017, Meghalaya was the first state which has conducted the social audit, and they have done in transparent way. And in 2011 and 2015, CAG has laid down the guidelines for social audit. Similarly, nowadays, the social audit has been followed by the social audit has been followed by the other scheme. Other scheme also social audit is done. Like it is done for the midday meal scheme, Swachh Bharat Mission, Bihar Shelter Home, and these audits were done by the TISS. TISS is Tata Institute of Social Science. This is the non-profit organizations. They have conducted the social audit. Nowadays, they are doing like that. So, what principles they have followed to conduct the social audit for all these schemes? Previously, there was now also these principles is followed. It is there in ICI guidelines and standards. So, this there are six principles. This is mainly six principles were framed by the Ministry of Rural Development in consultation with Controller and Auditor General of India. So, what principles was there? Access to information they have termed as Jankari, involvement and participation of citizens in the process of decision making and arriving at justifiable output they have termed as bhagidari, protection of citizens they have termed as suraksha, citizens right to be heard they have termed as sunwai, and collective platform janta ka manch, and report dissemination is prasar. So these six principle is completely followed by the MORD and Control and Auditor General of India. So the principles social audit, it also improved the social performance and multiple stakeholder perspective. It is done from the multiple stakeholders perspective. We can compare the social audit with other organizations also. There is also a comprehensiveness of data collected from relevant materials. There is regularity of coverage. Often it is done every year, every 2 years. It is often done for all the schemes. There is independent verification by the auditors. And there is a transparent also that the reports are published in openly. So one case study I will take, one case study of Magnera I will take. This Magnera audit scheme was framed in 2011 in exercise of Power Magnera Act 2005. The scheme was framed in consultation with CAG MORD. So the in with that the Meghalaya was the established as an independent organization to conduct the social audit. They have set up their unit. Till now, at present, there are 22 states that have been registered with social audit units to conduct the social audit of all these schemes. So what is the Mahatma Gandhi one case study is there. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantees Scheme is there in India that guarantees 100 days of employment per year to the rural household. The law was passed in 2005 and to improve the livelihood of security of people in rural areas. There was some how does they function? How does Magnera scheme function? Now, firstly, it provides the wage employment to the rural household. Secondly, it creates durable assets like roads, canals, ponds, and well. And thirdly, it strengthens the livelihood of resources base of the poor. And fourth, it promotes the social inclusion and it strengthens the Panchayati Raj institution. And lastly, it gives priority to the sustainable development and environmental fields. So how does they functions? These are their priorities and how does they function? First, the adult member of rural households can apply for the registration and the local Gram Panchayat allows the work within 15 days of the application. And if they don't provide within job within 15 days of application, they are entitled to unemployment allowance. This scheme was implemented mainly by the Gram Panchayats. So the Magnera main focus Magnera was the social audit here will find out what social audit will do here. Social audit will find out the quality of work, impact on their life of workers, While evaluating, they may come across a corruption or weaknesses. Any suppose the corruption in the sense, suppose there is registration for 100 workers are there, only 60 persons are present, and the money is withdrawn for 100 workers. And suppose and in case of some workers may be working on behalf of other workers, so all this will be examined. These all the corruptions will be detected by the doing the social audit. In a sense, there is a people power is called a governance power. So hence their social audit is a tool for good governance. I will take the one video which will emphasize which will show the procedures, how the social audit is done by the Magnera people. Let's play one video. Yeah, audio is full. I can hear. I can hear the audio. You can't hear, but I can hear. You can see audio. You can't hear the audio. Uh, Now you can hear. Play again. Okay. Now, This the procedure was followed. The what procedure was followed, which I have discussed earlier. Earlier, this procedure. This was Jankari, Bhagidari, Suraksha, Sunwai, Janta ka Manch, and Prasar. These are the six principal procedure was followed in these videos to conduct the audit of a Magnera. So this is the basic principle has to be followed to visit the site and conduct the audits. Similar to the Magnera, there is a certain other schemes also. Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyutikaran Yojana, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, and so on. These are the scheme also for which the social audit was done. What are the elements of social audit engagement? There are five elements are there for to conduct the social audit. The three-tier relationship between the social auditor, responsible party, and intended user. Social auditor, who are the social auditor? Those who are registered with self-regulatory organizations. Who are the responsible party? Responsible party are the social enterprises. Intended users are the stakeholders to whom the social auditor has to report. The elements also involves the conduct of audit of project program and its intervention, that is project program of thematic areas which I will discuss later on. The thematic, there are 16 thematic areas on which these policies has to be implemented. The project monitoring framework, the project has to be monitored. The theory of change model will detail out the input, activities, output, and outcomes, and its impact on the communities. The evidence has to be gathered. The social auditor should have the critical assessment with questioning my validity of evidence is obtained and documents or representation by the responsible party. Then a written audit report. These are the elements compulsory should be there in the social audits. Certain terms has to be understood. The social auditor, that very important terms from the point of view of social stock exchange. Social auditor, social enterprise, NPO, NGOs, what are the eligible services? Eligible services in the sense of it is thematic areas and services. Social stock exchanges, SRO is the self-regulatory organization, Institute of Social Auditors of India, SEBI circulars, and CSR funds. Who are the social auditor? The first term, social auditor. Social auditor are the persons who are appointed by self-regulatory organizations. The SRO is working under ICAI. The social auditor can be financial auditor or non-financial auditor. Financial auditor are the person holding COP of ICI and should have the NISM exam should be passed by them. Whereas a non-financial auditor is the person with postgraduate from recognized UGC with 3 years experience in development sector, or graduate should have at least 6 years experience in the same sector. And cost and management accountants are other persons who should have at least minimum of 6 years experience in this development sector. Also, they have to pass NISM exams with SROs. And what is the NISM exams? NISM exams website. This is website of NISM exam. That is the 13 series of social auditors or certification examination is there, which has to be passed. This examination will be valid for 3 years. But now this on 21st December 23, the wordings has been changed. The wording has been renamed. Social auditor is replaced by the social impact assessor, and the social audit firm is replaced by the social impact assessment firm. And NISM exam has been replaced is termed as NISM Series 13 Social Impact Assessor Certification Examinations. So the impact assessment, that wording has been added instead of social auditors. Now, second terms which has to be understood by the social auditors or for social enterprises, this a very important term. Certain voluntary organization, not all the voluntary organization, NPO or NGOs are covered for the social audit. The voluntary organization which can be covered are Society Registration Act 1860 and those Indian Trust Act 1882, Public Statute of 11 state, those incorporated under Section 8 Companies Act 2013. Any other entity which SEBI or government may specify from the time to time. But these are the four organization has to be covered. From these four organizations, these are excluded: corporate foundation, political or religious organizations or activities, professionals or trade associations, infrastructure and housing companies except affordable housings. These four organizations are excluded from these voluntary organizations, these four voluntary organizations. These voluntary organizations can only list their securities or to the social stock exchange, raise the donation through social stock exchange. So some there are thematic who can be defined as social enterprises. Who are the social enterprises? The social enterprises has to cover these thematic areas. There are 16 thematic areas has to be covered, which are based on our ICAI standards. These 16 thematic areas are very important areas, uh, which has to be understood by the social auditors, because these activities, if they carry on, they are allowed to do the social audits. I'll just read out the 16 areas. The social auditor has to follow one of the social activities from these 16 areas. On these activities only, our institute has laid down the 100 to 1600 audit standards. So first activity is eradicating hunger and property malnutrition, promoting healthcare, promoting third is promoting education, fourth is promoting gender equality, fifth is ensuring environmental sustainability. Sixth is protection of national heritage. Seventh is training to promote rural sports. Eighth is supporting incubators of social enterprises. Ninth is supporting other platforms that strengthen the non-profit ecosystem. Tenth is promoting livelihood of rural and urban poor, including their small and marginal farmers. And 11th is slum area development, 12th is disaster management, and 13th is promotion of financial inclusion, and 14th is facilitating access to land and property assets, 15th is bridging the digital divide in internet and mobile phones, and 16th is promoting welfare of migrants and displaced persons. These are the 16 areas, 16 activities. These activities are very important, which social enterprises has to be engaged any of these 16 activities to do the audit of social auditors should do the audit of these activities only. If they are not doing these activities, it will not be covered under social audit. So lastly, there is any other additional activities as may be specified by the SEBI board or by the government from time to time. Then second, this is the first criteria, and the second criteria which the social enterprises has to follow to raise the funds for the social stock exchange. Second is they should target to the undeserved or less privileged population segment only those who are undeserved and privileged populations. And third criteria which social enterprise will cover are at least their 67 percentage of their expenditure and revenue should be incurred from these eligible services. These eligible services means these thematic services, 16 thematic services, they have to incur and expense 67 percentage for preceding 3 years. Then only they will cover under definition of social enterprises or NPO, NGO, you can call NPO, NGOs, organizations. So these organizations can raise the funds through these stock exchanges. This is NSE, BSE stock exchanges. There is separate terminal has been led by the SEBI. They can raise the fund through these stock exchanges for donations. Still, it is there. Some of the donations have already been raised by the organizations. So let's discuss the SEBI circular. What are the SEBI circular has brought with regard to the social stock exchange and social audit? Our ICI is also governed by SEBI circulars only. We have to follow the SEBI circulars to conduct the audits. So this is the SEBI was first, it was 19th September 2019. The SEBI has constituted the working committee group, and this committee has released the report in 1st June 2020. And again, SEBI has formed the technical group to again read all the procedure for the social audits. They have constituted that technical group. This technical group has released the report in 2021, May 2021. Then SEBI has approved the framework for social stock exchange. So these reports were approved by SEBI in September 2021. This is just the SEBI's formation, how they have followed the procedure to reach at the formation of social stock exchange. Then the recommendation was given, which was approved by the SEBI of WGN committee recommendation was approved by SEBI in 2022. In July 2022, SEBI has amended, they have amended 3 regulations, that is ICDR regulation, LODR regulation, and AIF regulation. In these 3 regulations, they have brought all the amendments relating to social audit and social stock exchanges. In August 2022, there was a formation of SRO. Institute has formed the SROs and they have released the standard also. Social audit standards were released. In December 2022, NSE and BSE was formed where the social enterprise can raise the funds. And CSR fund should not be confused with the social audit. And social audit is completely different than CSR fund. CSR is mainly covered under Section 35 of the Companies Act, but it is not anything to do with the social audit. Often it is confused by the members whether CSR, corporate social responsibility is covered under the social audit. So under Section 8 of FCRNA provides the foreign contribution. Foreigners cannot contribute to the social audit funds. How the implement of social auditor are done. The SRO will appoint the social auditors or the individuals. First, SRO will see their experience in the same field. They will see the number of partners and the employees. Any disciplinary cases is pending with them. That will not be taken. They will not allow to be employment. And with the advent of time, there is lots of parameters are coming for the employment. SEBI has bringing the lots of employment to conduct the audit as per the circular of SEBI 25th July 2022. So in January 2023, Institute of Social Auditors of India, that is under SRO, has expression of interest was published. They have published for appointment of social auditor, and they have laid down some criteria. That is, first, that individual entity of firm should have a track record of minimum of 3 years of experience for conducting the social impact of social enterprises. And those social enterprises should be indulged in the areas of thematic areas which I have discussed earlier. The average annual grant or the expenditure of social enterprises for which the impact assessment should be carried out should for last 3 years should be at least 50 lakhs. Suitable human resources in the field of social development having experience of usage of reliable methodology and social audit. This qualification was also there. The individual who are convicted of offense are not allowed, and if undischarged, insolvent, bankrupt are not allowed. The individual director who are debarred from SEBI are also not allowed to carry out the social audit. So these was just a first expression of interest was released by the Institute of Social Auditors. It is the ICI website. It is displayed in 2023. After that, no such implement has made yet. So what will be the fundamental of social audit? What will be the fundamentals, principles? The fundamental that the social auditor has to be should have to follow certain code of conduct, which the code of conduct framed by the ICI in consultation with the SROs, Institute of Social Auditor of India. Institute of Social Auditor of India, the ICI has made a separate social auditor of India at BKC. Under the Institute of Social Auditor, they have appointed the committee of self-regulatory organizations who appoint the social auditors. So they have laid down certain code of conduct to be followed to conduct the social audit. And so the social auditor should not compromise with the professional and business professional ethics, should not be conflict of interest or undue influence of others. They should maintain confidentiality, should comply with the rules and regulations, should take due care, professional due care. Documentation should be taken, documentation should be filed, and they should not be under pressure, allow pressure from others or to place pressure to others. And certain other principles, fundamental principles of social auditors are they should not accept all are the similar to our normal principles what we follow for ICI. They should not accept gift and hospitality. They should not take the custody of client asset. There should not be any conflict of interest. They should exercise the professional judgment, and they should have the critical mind of assessment of evidences. Professional skepticism should be there. They should not be family relationship. And should follow the proper. They should give report to the notice of. They should give their report to the management, to those charged with governance, those who are charged with the governance, in the sense those who are the stakeholders. Similarly, there should be quality of control and should agree with the engagement. They should prepare the engagement letter with the stakeholders. What will be their programs, or what procedure they will follow, what will be their guidelines, to what extent they can cover the policies. So engagement letter has to be signed by the with the social auditor and the stakeholders between those who are charged with the governance. Materiality should be also there. There should be proper internal control followed by the social auditors. And sampling and data collection should also be done by the social auditors. What will be the scope? To what extent social auditor can go? What will be their scope to do the social audit? Firstly, they have to do the social audit for their impact of the project program in a sense the thematic areas, project program which governed by the social SROs, social regulatory organizations, and they will assess whether this project and program are in accordance with the stated strategic intent and planning. And thirdly, they will assess the stated performance of these project and programs. And they will also have to suggest the ways to improve the impact of this project and performances. And they will select a certain method of assessment which has to be followed by the social auditors. So some methods and which technologies are there, which social auditor has to follow. What will be the technology? Some technologies are there for human interaction and non-human interaction. Social auditor has to follow the technologies. Human interaction will be on-site and remote. On on-site human interaction, he will conduct the interviews, complete the checklist and questionnaire has to fill. These checklists and questionnaires are already there in social audit standard. There is 100 to 1600 social audit standards are there. This checklist is already there. The social auditor has to go through the checklist and apply as per the scheme of the social enterprises and fill that questionnaires with the auditee participation. He has to fill this questionnaire with the auditee participation, then conducting the document review with the auditee participation, and sampling method has to follow. Here the sampling method has to follow. He has to take his decision to what extent sampling method and what he has to adopt it 100%, 50%, whatever the sampling method he has to follow. With the reason, he has to state in the report also that he has adopted this sampling method. While when the human interaction is done remotely he can he conduct interviews. He will observe the performance and of the stakeholders and complete the checklist and questionnaire can also be completed. And he will be conducting the documents. He will collect the document review. Each and every documents will be reviewed with the auditee participation. And how the what method and technology will be followed for the no human interaction, where when there is no human interaction, nobody is there to guide the social audit. Often it is very less followed, but still there is some technology. In this technology, he has to conduct the document interview. In the sense, he will record the data, analyze, he will do the data analysis or the document interviews and observe the work performance. He will observe the work performed and conducting the on-site visit and complete the checklist and questionnaire which is already there with the say social audit standards. And in case of non-human interaction, in remotely cases, he will again conduct the review of documents and observe the work performed. In the sense, work performance can be done by through cameras. Surveillance cameras are placed at the places. He will study there as per the it is there as per statutory and regulatory organization requirements, and then he will analyze that data footage and all. He will analyze the data. So the ICI has laid down certain guidelines, 100 to 1600 standard. These standards are illustrative standards which has to be followed by the social auditor. This this social standard has to be followed in line with minimum requirement, and it has to be followed with other laws, established laws and regulations. Like SEBI regulations will be there, SEBI guidelines, notifications keep coming. So he has not to restrict. This is just a illustrative. All the standards lays down the question, detailed questionnaires are there which social auditor has to follow. Each scheme, each standard has separate questionnaire and checklist. So this is all in detail. Checklists and questionnaires are there. I will not go in much detail. It is already there in detail questionnaires. So I will just take in broad briefly what all there in these standard. It is divided in four sections. First section will be covered objective and scope. The checklist and questionnaire will be regarding objective and scope. Second section will cover process of social audit. In this process, he will there is a data collection, desk review, inspection and personal interviews, evaluation questions, key metrics of evaluation of program and projects, and then assessment of evaluation criteria. These on these points, there will be checklist will be there. Each and every broad checklist are there, exhaustive checklist are there. And it will be followed by social auditor as and when it is applicable to the particular scheme who has appointed the social enterprises, who has carry out with the stakeholders to whom he has to report. Now the assessment and challenges will also be faced by the social auditor. So in this standard also, there is assessment and challenge. The limitations will also be narrated by the social auditor. In the area for improvement, he should also narrate what will be the areas for improvement, future improvement. And there is a limitation. He should, if he has faced any limitation in his scope of social audit, then he should describe, he should clearly state there in the report. And section 4 will be the taxonomy, classification, areas and sub areas of social objective will be laid down by the social auditors by in these standards. All these four sections, these social audit standards are divided. Mostly all the standards are divided in the four section, and these are the detailed one questionnaires are available on this standard. Who are the stakeholders? Here, stakeholders are mainly very important persons. They are the persons who are affected in the group. They are affected by the activities of an organizations. These key stakeholders should be given an opportunity to be influenced the way the organization behave and understood, and should be given priorities of the demand. They should be understood before doing the audit. So mainly, for example, the stakeholders are our firstly there is a common, this is social enterprises will be there, the beneficiaries or the immediate family members of the beneficiaries, risk investor will be there, funding entities will be there, and thirdly there will be evaluator. Evaluator can be the third party like architect, consultant, intermediaries will be there, regulator will be there, society at large will be there, vendors, contractors will be there, key program official, director, trustee, fund providers and corporates will be there. These are the stakeholder as per the schemes or the programs. Now, how to draft the social audit report? Social audit report mainly it will address to the report will be divided in four sections, and this is only this indicates the element. Four elements will be there to be stated in social audit report, and the auditor may include the other elements as per the social enterprises. The areas will be reviewed. So first section will be the background of the engagement, about the project, responsibility of reporting entity, compliance with the framework, then the scope of the engagement, then the objective of audit, and what methodology he has taken, basic approach, sampling method, mapping with the stakeholder, data collection, and a study limitation will be there. And second section will be key finding, alignment with the national and state priorities. Third section will be gaps or challenges, and fourth will be recommendation. So third will be the fourth will be all recommendation will be followed with the he should write the registration number which is allotted by SROs. So what process we have followed till now in social audit? Define the objective and scope. Stakeholder mapping. Stakeholder mapping means there will be group of stakeholders, and the auditor is very important. He has to let down the stakeholders in relation to their needs, their local council, like what is their categories, how they are influenced by the projects. The most practical way to engage the stakeholder is to consult their relevance, appropriateness, priorities, objectives and of the activities. Then they will there will be, we have studied the evolve the data collection and tools. Then there will be sampling strategy, what we have discussed in the process. Then the social auditor will consult the stakeholder consultations, then he will analyze and validation, then he will draft the report and verify the report and certify the report. These process I have followed in this PPT. So what will be the challenge? There is a challenge is always there with any program or any audits. There will be challenges is also there with the social audit. There is variety of terminology is used, and there is a lack of measures within the social sector. There is a cost effectiveness and unavailability of accurate reliable data. Interdependency in the sense that suppose there is a series of intervention, like suppose in education, with education will take the education is dependent upon the Turing program. Program in the sense they need the family of the beneficiaries. Interdependency is there. Family, it has relied on the beneficiaries. Family should allow their children to go to study and all that. So interdependency is there. Time frames, we can't judge how to come for the recommendation. Some programs impact is 3 to 5 years, like health and initiative, and other programs give 15 to 20 years to show the results. So these are the related, likely 15 to 20 years are in environment cases, environment programs. They take 15 to 20 years to give the results. So long time frames are there to assess any program. And there is also difficulty to generate the data There is an absence of conceived information. The information are hide. So they don't disclose all the informations. There is also non-availability of the datas. There is also legal proceedings available. Legal proceedings are there, so they are not following the principles. Grievance redressal forum is not there. There is a proper grievance forum is not there with particular schemes. And beneficiaries hesitate to address the complaint. They don't address the complaint. Proper mechanism is not there for grievances. So there is no coordination, cooperation with village representative, selection, improper selection of beneficiaries is not selected properly. Social audit cannot be done. His aim is not, social auditor cannot come to particular aim where he will focus, to whom he should reach. Lack of awareness is there, lack of monitoring is there. This is tax policy, which is, or it is, this tax policy is normal with our tax policy. The rates are also same, and the NPOs has to follow these rates. It is similar to the our taxation which are we are following. And this is will they will enterprises, social enterprise will also get the benefit in ATG and capital gain of income taxes. The benefits is also similar, but NPO has to be get registration under should register themselves with 12 section 12 AB, and they should take obtain registration from income tax department, and this registration should be valid at the time of donations. Then only they will be given registration, and they will be they can take the benefit of deductions. The income of non-profit and social enterprise NPO is exempt from tax subject to certain conditions. So let's see the international scenario. International scenarios, there is in internationally there is it is not backed by any regulatory mandate. There is no regulation. As in our country, we got SEBI regulations and Institute of Social Auditors are there. There is no globally there is no such institution or regulatory mandate to carry out the social audit. There is no performance corporate, or in case of corporate also, and in case of government department also, there is till now there is no such regulations framed by the globally. Any country doesn't have. But they got the civil society organization. They follow their own standard. They train their own staff to conduct the social audits. Some of the organizations, well-known organizations are AP EPSA is the Association of Professional Social Compliance Auditor, which is based in USA. They got their own standard and social compliance auditor. They conduct the audit nearly of 5,000 auditors globally they have, and they have certified auditors. They train the auditors, but they cover millions of programs of workers and identification of labor violations. So they are focusing on mainly on this professional conducting the labor organization identification and human rights. Their human rights, labor organizations, human rights, labor workers. So these area only they are covering, and they are established in 2016. Other is SAI, also is a very famous organization. It was founded in 1997, and they done the audit as per the SA 8000. Globally, they do the audit. These also the independent organization, not governed by any government organization. This is a non-profit organization. These two are mainly famous globally to conduct the social audits. This reference has been made to prepare the PPT. These are the SEBI circulars, and certain these also I have referred. Compendium I have referred. Framework of social audit. All these has been referred to prepare the PPTs. There is a technical guide of social audit on social audit by the institute, and the primer is also published by the institute. It is there in the institute website. Let's see the conclusion. What the conclusion is there? Conclusion will be there from the point of view of NPO, social enterprises, auditors, and government involvement. All these has to be come together to for success of the social auditor. We'll take one. There is a study was made by the CSO coordination with one study group has NGO group has made the study of 851 MPOs. They have studies. The study indicated that Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, and Delhi are the primary region of operations of social audits, and 50% is there in Maharashtra. And the survey also highlight that the 80%, 87% of NPOs are registered after 1990. And small organization, they contribute to 62 percentage. Small organization contribute 62 percentage of the annual expenditures. So the report emphasizes that the role of NPOs in creating this local livelihood and developing skills, showcasing their impact on social economic status improvement over 5 years. In 5 years, there is lots of improvement have been noticed. And from despite of these challenges, the current studies also show that after 15 years, there is a positive growth of NPOs, and they have followed all the regulations. They have brought more and more schemes and under the social audit in collaboration, but they have to collaborate it to success. Teamwork is required. They have to collaborate with the regulators, with the policymaker, with the funders, with the NPOs, informed strategy, resource allocation, and capacity building initiatives. And we can also conclude that the social auditor is also role is very important. They have to comply with the ethical and professional standards so that the public confidence and is gained over the social auditor, and the stakeholders will more and more faith on the social auditors. They will gain the trust confidence of stakeholders. And for social enterprises, if doing the social audit, there more and more social enterprises should come forward to conduct the social audit, even of because at present there is only certain limited like 50 lakhs and above are allowed to do the social audit, but others also can come forward to do the social audits. It will enhance the credibility of social enterprises. It will help them to make the policy decision, and positive support will be there from stakeholders. Since a social audit is done, so more liability will be there of the stakeholders, and more funds they will able to raise the more funds for their programs and policies. So organizations can be better manage its risks as it can enhance its social focus by covering any adverse social impacts highlighted by its social audit report. Any adverse remark is there will be covered by the social enterprises. So it will together they can develop more and carry out the and win the trust and confidence of the social enterprises. So with this, I will come to the conclusion of my topic on social audit. Thank you, Sobna.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, and I stopped sharing my screen.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
Sharing.
so much, ma'am, for your
Uh,
insights on this amazing topic that is social audit.
yeah,
There are a couple of questions in the chat box. I
yeah,
would take one by one.
yeah.
So first is from CA Hima Balwant Patel from Ankleshwar. What opportunities available to us as a social auditor?
The social auditors, first you will be appointed for the social audit by the SROs. First, you have to register yourself to as a CA. You have to first pass the exam. You have to make yourself eligible to do the social audit, and you have to first you can be appointed as social auditor, statutory social auditor. You can do internal audit of social enterprises, and you can be a consultant of that organization of social enterprises. If you can't do the social audit, you can't pass the exam, you can be appointed as consultants and do the audit. So these are the mainly the main opportunity available at present to do the social audit. But you have to equip yourself. You have to follow these guidelines to start the social audits.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Mm.
Uh, uh, One question is from Sujata Padmanabhan from Chennai. Uh, how to get the first social audit assignment? You have mentioned 3 years experienced persons are appointed as a social audit assessment auditors. As a fresh qualified social auditor, is there any chance of getting the same? If not, what is the way out to get appointments? Do any firms provide such experiences? where newly enrolled social auditors can work?
Yeah, first question one by one. She asked me, I am new fresher. She's saying that I am new freshers. Yeah,
Yes.
new fresher will not be allowed to do social audit. He should have at least minimum, his firm or individually should have at least minimum 3 years of experience in, now they are terming as social impact assessor. He should have the impact assessor of 3 years in reasonable field. What thematic areas I have told that programs in that field only they should have the experience. And secondly, if you are not having the experience, 3 years experience, yes, you have to consult with the, like you can go with the firms who are doing the CSR activities. CSR is also they do the impact assessment of their companies. So you should have the, you can be contact with them, take the appointment and do the impact assessment. For 3 years continuously, 3 years you should be appointed. And thirdly, what was the third question?
If do any firms provide such experience where
Yeah,
newly
that
enrolled
in that
social?
case you have yourself has to carry out the research. You have to follow the forms. Forms usually the big fours are doing this impact assessment of CSR activities, but you have to yourself have to search all this.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. One another question is from Shweta Bansal from Delhi. Uh, Hi, ma'am. I am proprietor and wish to grow my career in social audit. How can I gain experience to in this field?
Yeah, Sweta, hello. Very nice questions to you. This is simple questions. This I have covered in PPT also. As you are a sole proprietor, first you have to pass the exam. NISM exam first you have to pass the NISM exam, and then if you have passed the exam, you have to enroll yourself with the Institute of Social Auditor, which is BKC. There is website is there, full website is there. You have to enroll yourself, and thirdly you have to have the experience, because presently since it is at initial stage, these criteria are fixed criteria. Experience should be there, 3 years experience should be there, and this experience you have to take it with firms, those firms who are doing the social impact assessment, like they are doing the CSR, because previously these organizations used to do like CSO organization, Tata and all these Tisco, they got their own social group auditors. So we can't go there. We can go reach out to the CA firms who are doing the CSR assessments. You call no CSR assessment. They are doing impact assessment. They are doing for their activities. So you have to you have to follow these threes for doing the social audit. So you can grow by following these three things.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. One more question from CA Hima Patel. That is there any empanelment for that?
Yeah, implement is there. The first implement was released in January 2023. It is there in ICI website also. You can see ICI website clearly stating that implement of social audit is started, and they have laid down three guidelines, three compulsory. You have to follow these three guidelines to be appointed. But implement is there, but it is not a direct implement. You have to register yourself with SRO. SRO in the sense Institute of Social Auditor of India. You have to register with the institute and pass the necessary exams to conduct the social audit.
Okay, thank you,
But you
ma'am.
can be appointed as internal auditor if the suppose any enterprises, any NPO, NGOs, you can approach them and ask them if you can do the internal audit, like internal audit of social audit. If they feel good NGOs are there, they can appoint.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, CA Sangeeta ma'am, for your session. Your session has been truly informative and thought-provoking. You made complex concept not only understandable but also relevant to the practical challenges faces in our industry. And your examples and case studies have shed light on how social audit can lead better governance, empower citizens, and promote social challenges. So thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, can we start with the next session?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes.
sure.
Yes, thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. Very enlightening. Here I am here to introduce CA Priyanka Jordia. It is a pleasure to have you for this session. And it's rightly said that communication works for those who work at it. And CA Priyanka is a chartered accountant with more than 11 years of experience, and she specializes in tax and compliances. She also specializes in soft skill development, focusing on communication, emotional intelligence, and leadership. She's passionate about empowering professionals, and particularly our community of chartered accountants, to excel in careers through enhanced interpersonal skills. So we are really fortunate to have you here, and thank you for being with us on this session of effective communication and active listening. Over to you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Pooja ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Perfect.
Okay. So I'll just share the screen. So you can see the screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So should we start?
Yes, please.
Yes. Please excuse me for the voice. I think the throat.
No, we
Okay.
completely understand.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. I am CA Priyanka Chodia. I'm from Pune. First of all, I am truly grateful to ICI Women Members Excellence Committee for giving me this opportunity today. Special thank you to the chairman, ma'am, Preeti Savla, ma'am, and also the vice chairman, Kemisha Soni, ma'am, and all my colleague moderators and the people who have been coordinating for this event. So thank you so much. I'm truly grateful. So I would like to say it was amazing to hear from Sangeeta ma'am on the intricacies of the social audit. The topic is very vast, I know, but I think Sangeeta ma'am and her effective communication skills definitely made it very simple for us to understand. So without any further ado or delay, we can just start with our today's topic. So first was the technical session, as ma'am said, and this is the non-technical one. So today we are going to speak about effective communication and active listening. Right. So do you know what is effective communication? So for before that, I'll just tell you what briefly is today's lecture about. So it is about what is effective communication. Second, it would be why communication matters for chartered accountants. Then third, it would be key components of effective communication. Then it would be 7 C's of communication. Then active listening, what about it, the definition and things around it. Then it would be benefits of active listening. Then it would be barriers to active effective listening. Then we will talk about techniques for practical active listening, what we need to do so that we can be a good active listener. Then it would be role of non-verbal communication in the overall effectiveness of the communication which we have in our day-to-day lives. Then it would be tools for improving communication. Then it would be activity or role playing exercise which you can do in your office with your colleagues, or maybe with the organization, with the teams you have. Then it would be final tips which I would give for the effective communication. So basically, this is the summary of what we're going to look at today. So let's start with what is effective communication. So effective communication is the process of exchanging information, ideas, and emotions in a way that is clear, concise, and understood by the intended audience or client. So basically, I have an idea or I have some information which I need to share with my client. So basically, if that information is very clear, very concise, means to the point, and it is understood by the client, only then it becomes an effective communication. Otherwise, I think it just becomes a one-way communication. So basically, we don't get any results through that. So that's why effective communication is necessary. Second, it involves both sender and the receiver feeling satisfied that the message was conveyed and received. So, as I told you, when the two parties, the sender and the receiver, the speaker and the receiver, both are involved, both are satisfied, both have understood what the message was, only then we can call it as a effective communication. Second, it would be why communication matters for chartered accountants. So, as Simon Sinek says, that start with why. Everything you do, you should start with why. If your why is sorted, then your how and what to do will definitely take their place. So, why communication matters to chartered accountants? So, the first thing I would say is because it simplifies the financial data for clients. Now, many a times, what happens is the jargons what we use as chartered accountants, it is very difficult for the clients to understand. So we need to simplify it. So how can we simplify it? By communicating. So we need to communicate well so that we can give our information in a very simple way to the client who is coming to us. Second, it builds trust with the clients. So the more you communicate with them, the more rapport you build with them, they will have more trust on you. So communication does that with your clients. Third is facilitates negotiation with authorities. Tell me something. So if you're going to a GST office or if you're going to an income tax office for that matter, and if you're a very good communicator, then it becomes very easy to talk to the authority, to negotiate with them, to make them understand what the actual problem is. So for that, communication is definitely a key thing which you need to have, right? So next, it would be it enhances the teamwork within organization. Now, a lot of firms which are big, which has many departments and teams working together, having different departments, but they need to work together. So here, the communication plays a very big part, right? Only if you communicate well with all the departments. Suppose there's a GST department, there's a RERA department, there's income tax, and everybody needs to work together. So communication, it again becomes a very crucial thing which needs to be there, right? So the system, the communication should be in place so that teamwork is done better within the organization. Next, so basically, what happens is when you communicate well, when effective communication is there, there is more understanding. When there's more understanding, there's more trust. And when there's more trust, there's more success. You can have more clients. So, whenever, suppose you're pitching for a new client, so if you're a very good communicator, and if they understand what you're saying, they'll definitely have more trust in you, and you can have that client for lifelong, right? So that is why I say communication plays a very crucial role in all these things, especially for chartered accountants. Next would be key components of effective communication. Now, basically, what is required if you want to be an effective communicator, right? So first is clarity. As I rightly said, that we as chartered accountants and reading all that legal language, I think we have a lot of jargons around. We have a lot of technical language which we use when we are talking. But when we are talking to our clients, we must avoid jargons. When necessary, definitely we must use them. Otherwise, we must just simplify the technical language, the jargons, and then communicate with the client so that it's easier, right, to understand. Second is conciseness. So, conciseness means you have to be brief and to the point. That means you should not give a lot of details, which is really not required in the first or the second discussion. When necessary, definitely we can have the detailed discussion. But otherwise, be brief and to the point so that the client knows what you're communicating and what you want to convey. Third is empathy. Empathy means you should understand what your client's perspective is. Basically, you have to listen to your clients' issues, problems. Why are they here? Rather than giving just your perspective and showing your knowledge, which we will when necessary, but your client first, right? So it is very important to be empathetic and understand the client's perspective. Then next would be confidence. So your confidence means not giving and telling them what you already know. It means you should be very positive in your approach. You should have a short tone that yes, I understand your problem, that yes, I am here to give you solution. Having that confidence. See, knowledge we all have, and that is definitely seen in our confidence approach, but a positive tone and a short tone will make wonders when we are communicating, right? So next would be feedback. So we must verify understanding by encouraging questions. So basically, we can say, suppose there's a GST client coming in and he's telling us, oh, these rates are changed and the HSN code, and I don't understand, and this and that. So basically, we make them understand, right? So, but still, if there are certain problems or certain technical things which he doesn't understand, or by when he's communicating with us, we understand that he is not understanding that. So we can ask them questions, we can ask them feedback. So that's how having a feedback can definitely make your communication better, because you will understand what your client needs are. Next. So next is the 7 C's of communication. So communication is based on these 7 pillars, which I'll tell you. So first is conciseness. Conciseness, as we rightly discussed, that it should be brief. So we can say that there should be short sentences and limited words whenever we are talking. We have to be to the point. Suppose a client is asking us about RERA, for example, and he is asking us what Form 3 is about. Right. So Form 3 is about all the financials, what you're giving about the project. So you don't need to just go through one by one all the points, because maybe that's not necessary. There's only one point which your client doesn't understand. So you can just talk to the point, right? Don't be repetitive in what you're talking. Just see to it that your client understand. If he doesn't understand, then definitely you can ask the encouraging questions and then clarify. Second is clarity. Second C, what we are talking is clarity. So clarity means you should plan what you want to talk, right? You should plan the message very clearly, one idea or concept at one time. So basically, we are not supposed to mix a lot of things, because I think we as chartered accountants, we have to go through a lot of things together to come to one solution. But maybe your client won't understand all the points together. So see to it that you communicate one idea or one concept at one time. Always use active voice. It's very easy to understand, right? Then the third point would be courtesy. Courtesy means you should be friendly, right? You should be polite. You should have a very pleasant behavior. With all this, a lot of positivity is there in the conversation, and see to it that there is no negativity in the whole procedure. So this communication becomes very good and very it is accepted by your client, basically, right? Next, it would be consideration. Consideration means you must show interest in the client, meaning you should show interest in what he wants to communicate with you, with what the problem is, with what the issue is. Understand it, empathize it, relate to it, and build rapport with the client. So consideration means whatever points he wants to convey your client, you have to understand them, you have to relate to them, and only then you can build a rapport with your client. So next would be completeness. Completeness means you have to answer clients' questions. Com- Incompleteness basically provide all the complete and relevant information which is necessary. So if we do that, it is very easy for the client to take decisions. So that completeness is very much necessary when it comes to what we want to convey or what solution we want to provide to the client. Next is concreteness. Concreteness means you have to provide facts and examples, right? So whenever there are case studies which are involved in that matter, what you're discussing with the client, make sure that you at least explain one or two of them, so that they know that it is concrete, they know that it is backed up by something, right? So it should be definite, it should be authentic. Only then the communication goes very well. Next would be correctness. So correctness means we must check the facts, we must be precise, we must know what we are talking about, we must know that what we are talking is correct, it is as per the legalities, it is as per what is necessary, right? But if you're not sure, you can anytime tell them that we can communicate this again, we can come back with the correct information. But here, make sure that we use the right tone, we use the correct tone. So when all these 7 C's of communication are used, your communication becomes very effective. All these C's of communication must be adhered to, must be taken into consideration whenever you're communicating with your client or anyone in general, right? So this was basically all about communication, the effective communication which we were talking. So to reiterate, I can say that the 7 C's of communication, which I said is very important, which you must follow. Then the key components of effective communication, which we discuss, must be taken care of. The confidence, the empathy, the feedback, everything taken together can make you a very effective communicator. Then, as I already told you, why communication matters, so that you can simplify the complex data, you can build the trust, you can build the rapport, you can be a very good negotiator, and the teamwork can do wonders in your organization. So this is all about effective communication. The second thing which we are going to discuss is active listening. Let's look at this picture. So what do you think? Here the female is talking and the man is just sitting like this with the hand on the head, right? So what do you think? Is he actively listening? Is he actually listening? I don't think so, because the non-verbal cues of the person, just look at him, he is not interested, right? So this is how we understand by a lot of cues that a person is listening or not listening. So first, let's understand what is active listening. So definition of active listening can be: suppose someone is talking to me, right, and I am the listener. So I have to fully concentrate on what the other person is talking. I must understand and I must respond to the speaker. So, what are the 3 things which is necessary for active listening? First is we must concentrate. We must be in the present with the person when we are listening, right? Second is understanding. You must understand what the person is trying to communicate with you. And third is responding to the speaker. So it is not necessary that you must always talk and respond in between the conversation. It can be non-verbal cues, or it can be something like nodding, it can be smiling, oh yes, giving the reassurance that yes, I'm understanding, yes, I'm listening to you, right? Excuse me. So what are the steps of active listening? So first is pay attention. So as I told you, you must pay attention to the person who is speaking to you. Very much necessary. Tell me something. Suppose I'm talking to you and you're on the phone. So will I be able to communicate well with you, or will you be really able to listen to what I want to talk? No, it becomes very difficult because the attention is not there, right? So the first thing is pay attention. Second, show you're listening through non-verbal cues. as I told you. Non-verbal cues means you can nod. So by any chance, if you've seen Ranbir Allahbadia's podcast. So he gives such good non-verbal cues. You'll always see him nodding when he's talking to his guest. You'll always see, like, yes, I understand what you're talking. And he always paraphrases what he's understood. Right? So that is the next one, what I want to say. That you must provide feedback, or you can paraphrase or summarize what the person has told you. You can just compress it to a few lines and tell, oh, I understood this. Is this what you really meant? Right? So this giving a feedback or paraphrasing it will definitely make the speaker understand that yes, you're listening, actively listening to the person. Right? So second is defer judgment. So defer judgment means, it means to remain open and not form an opinion about the speaker too quickly. Sorry. So many a times what happens is, suppose I'm attending, for example, I say a seminar, right? So I don't know the speaker very well. So before the speaker is speaking, and when the speaker has actually started speaking, I just start making judgments in my head. Oh, the speaker is like this. Oh, the speaker is speaking like this. Oh, his knowledge is like this. Basically, what happens is we just start talking in our head. So what I'm saying is, let's get out of our head, right? Don't form an opinion too quickly in case of the speaker. Be open, and then you can definitely be a very good listener. Next would be respond thoughtfully. So respond means respond in a way which is honest, which is open, which is respectful. So many a times things can happen that you don't understand what the person wants to convey, what the person wants to communicate. So you can be very honest about it. You can tell them, sorry, please tell me, please pardon. I didn't understand the point which you were telling me. And I think people will be very happy to tell you again, to repeat the things. So you have to be very honest, be very open, and the most important is be respectful whenever you're giving the feedback, or whenever you want to ask question, or whenever you want to say that maybe I didn't agree with you. Be respectful in whatever you want to respond, right? The next would be, basically, these are the steps which I discussed about active listening. So I hope you want to be an active listener and be a very good communicator. Next, Next is, let's talk about benefits of active listening in our profession. So if I'm an active listener, if I'm sitting in a client meeting, or if I'm sitting at a authority office, so will what will be the benefits which I will receive if I'm an active listener? Right. So first, by active listening, we can listen to the client issues, right? Understand them, and we can give them better solution. So first is, if we are an active listener, only then we can build a trust and a rapport with the clients. So if a person is sitting with you explaining what his problems are relating to some uh, tax income return, so that time you have to be patient, you have to actively listening. You can also point down the points, you can write down the points, so that whenever you're communicating back, you can, as I told you, that if I am a good active listener here, I can paraphrase, I can tell the client, oh, this is what I understood the problem is, now let's talk about the solution. So even he'll understand that yes, what I conveyed was understood by you. So that's how you build trust and rapport with the clients, by communicating well, by listening actively. Okay. Second is, it identifies issues and clients' needs accurately. So as I told you, if we sit and actively listen to each and every point what a client wants to say, then the issues can be identified very clearly. we can understand the needs of our clients. What do they need? Why do they need? In how much time frame this should be completed? So basically, it becomes very clear, correct? Third is it enhances collaboration within teams. So whenever there is active listening, the teams, the various teams in our organization which are working together, the collaboration becomes very easy, because we know that the other person is in a state of mind where he wants to listen, where he wants to collaborate, where we can discuss things. So it becomes very easy. Next, it would resolve conflicts and misunderstanding effectively. So many a times when you're actively listening and understanding uh, what's the mental block of the other person, or what the other person is feeling, for example, or the conflicts which he has in his mind, so these can be resolved. How? Because we are going to talk about it, we're going to active listening listen about it, and then we are going to find solution for the misunderstandings, right? So this is how you resolve the conflicts and the misunderstandings. So your example can be, suppose you're sitting at a audit place with a client. For example, I'm into bank audit. So if I'm sitting with the manager and telling them that these are the issues, these are the documents required, these are the files which are incomplete. So many a times what happens is the manager tells me, oh, this was the problem. That person was not available. So when he's come back now, and then we can get the documents. So rather than just, pointing out the mistakes and showing what is wrong, you can sit with the client, you can communicate, and then we can resolve a lot of things there and there only. The things which are not resolved, obviously, we can always report them. But a careful listening, summarizing is very much important when it comes to communication and active listening. So basically, these are the benefits which are necessary, which are very significant when it comes to active listening. Barriers to effective listening. Now, what happens is, suppose I'm talking to you and you really want to listen to me, actively listen to me. But what happens is, suppose you're sitting in your office, a client is coming, and you want to listen to me, when there is a client come in and you have to talk to that client also, other listen to his problems and then give solutions. So likewise, maybe an article just comes in, and he tells, oh, this tedious issue is not resolved, for example, please tell me what to do. So you have to adhere to. So in this age, what I can say is there are a lot of distractions. So previously, when there were no phones and no emails and no internet, it was very much easy to communicate, to listen to. But now, having a lot of distractions, it becomes a little difficult, and these barriers come up. So first, distractions we could talk about is phones. Oh my God, the phones! I think it is continuously notifying us something, right? So here, phone can be definitely one distraction. Second can be emails. I think just like the notification on the phones, the emails are also bubbling. It just continuous emails which we keep on receiving, which we need to give to attention to, right? The next is multitasking. Oh my God, this is the thing of our era, I feel. First, I think we always preferred, if I see my mother, for example, or someone of that age, they were not a multitasker. Mothers are many a times, I feel, but multitasking means, okay, I am listening to this webinar, I'm doing something on my computer, I'm also attending the checking the emails, I'm also reverting back to the messages I received. So these all things doing together is multitasking. But this multitasking, what I felt, is taking a lot of time. Also, our work are not getting completed, so it's a big distraction. So as I rightly read in a book called Make Time, they always said that multitasking will make you less effective. So if you want to be more effective, let's complete one work and then go to second, then go to third, then go to fourth. We can hop like this, after completing the work. But you just cannot hop around each and everything and multitask and then and then we see that the work, no, none of the work got completed. So let's not do that. Let's avoid doing that. Right. So this is one of the biggest barrier what I've seen. Then is prejudgments about the speaker. So as I told you, if supposedly me as a speaker, I'm coming in front of you for the first time, for example. So before me actually talking to you and actually communicating with you, you might have a lot of prejudgments about me. I don't know what she's going to speak. Maybe she's going to repeat the same thing. What different she's going to speak. Or maybe it can be positive that, yes, I think I'm going to learn a lot of things today, which I can, use it in my life. So there can be a positive one, there can be a negative one, but there are always prejudgments about the speaker. But if we have them, then effective listening becomes very difficult. Supposedly, just by looking at a speaker who is speaking, I went, oh my God, I don't know what she's going to speak. I don't know what she'll make me understand. If I have that in my mind, what the speaker is actually speaking, I won't listen to it. Right? So let's not do that. Let's be very open minded. Let's have a feeling that, yes, today I'm going to learn something new. Today I'm going to apply that in my life. Let's not have those prejudgments about the speakers, because it is going to be a big barrier to you when it comes to effective listening. Right. The next is interruptions during conversation. So here imagine a scenario where you are called as a speaker, and someone is continuously asking you questions. So here, when the audience, for example, is of 200 or 500 people, and one or two people are asking questions and interrupting, the other 498 people who are sitting in the room are definitely going to have this barrier of effective listening. Because see, if two people are talking, third person is listening, not listening, and continuous interruptions definitely is a big no-no, right? Even for the speaker, even for the listener. When the communication is one way, definitely you can have the question answers later on. You can have the Q&A sessions. But when the speaker is speaking one way, without much interruptions, then he can very clearly communicate to you what he wants to communicate, right? So these were the barriers, as I told you. Next is how to overcome those barriers. So how can you overcome? So first would be stay present, stay in present, and stay focused. So I think what I've heard and what I have understood is many a times, almost, I think almost more than 70% of the times, we are either in the past or we are in the future. So whenever we are in the past or in future, we are not in present. And if we are not in present, we cannot listen effectively to whatever is coming in. Right. So as those two people were speaking, and I told you that one person is speaking, and if I'm not in the present, I cannot be an effective listener. So try and be in the present. Be focused. Be focused on what the person is trying to communicate, what his ideas is, what is the information he wants to share. How can that change my life? How can that solve a problem? So basically, staying in present and focusing can make you a superb effective listener. Second would be practice patience and avoid interrupting. So many a times what happens is, suppose I'm talking about distractions to you. I'm sure you have a lot of questions coming in your mind. So many times in a webinar like this, it's not easy to ask questions and then answer immediately, right? So basically the Q&A is always at the end. But if it's a live event, and given a chance, people want to raise their hand and want to ask questions in between the conversation, in between what the speaker wants to say, right? So here we need to practice patience. You can always see, whenever you go to any event or whenever you're sitting in a webinar, you always have a diary and a pen handy, right? So you can just write the questions which come to your mind, and you can always ask them later, or you can just put it in the chat box and we can always address to them later. So this, you must practice the patience and avoid interrupting. So whenever basically you practice patience, you definitely avoid interrupting. Next would be ask clarifying questions. So how can you overcome barrier? You can always ask. Many a times it happens that you don't understand what the speaker is speaking, where he's going with this point. So you can always ask questions. Questions are good. So basically, what I remember the saying is, if I if I ask a question, I'll be fool for a minute, but if I don't ask a question, I'll be fool for a lifetime. So there's no way that you should not ask questions. You should always ask questions, but see to it that you don't interrupt the speaker, you don't interrupt the meeting, and you can jot down the questions and you can always ask them later. So these were the barriers to effective listening and how to overcome them. So here we can talk about the practical example. We can talk about the client meeting, which generally scenario which we have in our offices. So basically, a client misunderstands a tax saving suggestion. For example, you tell them that the ATC has a limit of 1,50,000 and ATC includes LIC and other things, right? And we also tell them that there is a scheme called the national NPS, the National Pension Scheme, and it has 50,000 extra, more than 1,50,000 above it, right? But when the client is understanding, he doesn't understand section 80C and section 80 CCD, right? For example. So what happens is he feels that, oh, I only have a tax saving of 1,50,000. Above that, I cannot have anything. So whenever you're communicating with that client and when you listen to what he's speaking, you will actually understand. He's not understood. He feels that only 1,50,000 is allowed, for example, and he doesn't understand that 50,000 ka extra benefit. So when you're actively listening, you can clarify their concerns. You can always tell them, oh, 1,50,000 is ATC, extra 50,000 is 80 CCD. So in totality, it is 2 lakh rupees. Giving you an example. You can restate what you said to confirm understanding. As I told you, that you should say, oh, this is 1,50,000, this is 50, this is how it is going to come to 2 lakh rupees. And you are confirming, you're confirming that he understood what we are trying to convey. Third is simply your explanation. Simplify your explanation based on their needs. Many times what happens is their needs are different, what we are making them understand is different. So sit down, understand what the client needs, simplify in a very simple language. Just make them understand what needs to be done. See, most of the work is done by us. Just there are few things which we need to convey to them when the problems are on the desk, right? So simplify the things and tell them. Last would be outcome. So you should build trust. It builds trust. So whenever everything is explained and everything is done, the outcome is generally the client trusts you because you have been very patiently listening to that person and trying to solve the problem. So whenever this is done, a lot of trust is built, and see to it that this is all clear and concise so that there is no further confusion. So this is how we can say that active listening can help you in all your day-to-day scenarios. Next is techniques for practicing the active listening. So you will tell me, now I have understood a lot about active listening, but now tell me, how can I actually do it? what how will the speaker understand that I'm actually, listening and actively listening to him and understanding everything about it, right? So first technique you can use is you have to maintain the eye contact, right? So suppose a person is talking to you, you just can't look here and there. Oh my God, okay, what he's talking, I don't understand. And basically, if it's a client and you're sitting with him one on one, you must maintain the eye contact. Don't don't give a eye contact which is uncomfortable for sure, but eye contact is necessary, right? The second is non-verbal cues, like nodding and smiling. Okay, so suppose your client is talking to you, right? This time, this is my problem, this happened, this e-way bill and whatever. The whole scenario is making you understand. So here you can always nod and say, okay, that reassurance is necessary for the clients. That nodding and smiling will definitely make your client build a rapport and trust in you. Then next, it would be avoid interrupting the speaker. Suppose if your client is speaking to you, just don't ask questions immediately. Oh, then what happened? Oh, then was this the scenario? You know. So as I told you before, also, that just sit down, make the points. Just then you can paraphrase and tell the person, okay, this is the scenario I understood from what you spoke. And then now we can paraphrase, summarize. And next, it would be asking open ended questions. So, supposedly, he explains you for like 15-20 minutes or what the scenario is. And still, there are few things which you need to understand what happened, what did not happen. So, you can always ask the open ended question that can you explain this part further? Can you explain this part in detail? And this is how you can be a very active listener, and you can practice this by doing all this, right? So maintaining eye contact is necessary, using the non-verbal cues as nodding and smiling is necessary, avoid interrupting and asking the questions later on. You can paraphrase and summarize and tell the speaker what you have understood, and then you can ask the open-ended questions like can you explain further, can you explain this part in detail. So this is how you practice active listening, and this should be done not only in a office premises, but this can also be done in a premises outside at home. And you can definitely see that the communication and the relationships which you are maintaining will definitely have a very positive and a good effect. So next, oh my God, I must tell you, this is a very big part, right? Non-verbal communication. So do you really know non-verbal communication? Give me a moment. Non-verbal communication, right? So do you know only 7% is words? So suppose if I'm talking to you, so that is contributing only 7% of the total communication which I'm doing with you, right? The 93% is actually non-verbal communication. So in that, 38% is the voice, the tonality which you use, the voice modulation which you use, the pauses which you take in between, to tell that this point is important. This all comprises of 38%. And 55% is your body language. So body language is a very big part of your communication. So that comes under non-verbal communication. Your facial expressions, the eye contact which you make. This everything comes around 55%. So the elements which I can tell you of non-verbal communication are body language, the tone of voice, the body language which comes under 55%, tone of voice 38%, facial expressions 55%, eye contact 55%. So this is very important. So if I'm speaking to you, my hand gestures, the way I'm talking, my smile, my expression, everything matters. Everything matters when you're communicating. Imagine a scenario, you're sitting with a client with a very sad face, and the client is talking about the problems, and you're saying, okay, not interested. So, if this is the scenario, everything is going to reflect on your face. So let's not do that. Let's understand the non-verbal communication. Yes, and only then it will be a effective communication. Importance: non-verbal cues complement verbal communication. So suppose I'm talking words with you, in between I'm doing the hand gestures, in between I'm doing my head movements, in between my eyes are becoming small and big, my facial expression, my smile. So whenever I'm talking, a non-verbal communication is complementing this, right? So it's verbal plus non-verbal together, only then it becomes the effective communication. I'm sorry. So non-verbal communication cues complement verbal communication. It also conveys your confidence. Supposedly, imagine a scenario. I am called as a speaker in Pune at ICI branch, and supposedly if I'm standing with my hands folded like this, right? Suppose I'm just standing like this. I don't know what I want to speak. Or if I can just keep my hand like this down and I'm standing. Or supposedly, if I'm talking and if I'm talking and I'm very nervous, it is seen on my face. I am just taking a small steps. I'm not walking around comfortably, showing confidence. So this all is going to be seen, and these are all the non-verbal cues which are seen when you're speaking somewhere. Or supposedly you're sitting with a client and you're folding your hands, looking here and there, and your facial expressions are not good. That all is going to convey a very negative message to your client. So let's not do that. Let's concentrate on your words, which is verbal, but also all the non-verbal communication which is necessary while communicating. So tools for improving communication. So what tools you can use for improving communication? So digital tools can be used effectively. For example, email templates for clarity. Many times it happens that you cannot convey through email properly and very concisely. So here you can use the templates for clarity to give out your effective communication. Second is collaboration tools like MS Teams or Zoom. For example, this webinar which we are having on Zoom today. So these collaboration tools like Zoom, they really uh, help us very effectively in improving communication. Or supposedly, I was just sitting at my office and not communicating with you if the Zoom was not there, or if there was not a physical event which I need to attend to. So these help. These digital tools are very handy and very helpful. Second, it would be practical role playing activities with colleagues. How can you improve? For example, there is a article sitting and he doesn't know how to take a meeting. So see, some or the other day the article is going to become a CA. He needs to take meetings, or as an article he needs to go to the audit places and communicate with the clients. So here, when we just enact few things as a role play in our offices, just as fun activities or maybe as learning activities, it would be very much beneficial for the freshers and for the newbies. It's important. It is going to increase their confidence a lot, right? So do that in offices with your colleagues, with your uh, juniors, or with the articles. And next would be, you can attend the soft skills workshops and webinars. So there are a lot of webinars available, workshops available of a lot of communicators. So do that. See, when communication is necessary, you know that you have to communicate on a daily basis. So it's okay to learn. Like you're learning from your modules and all the new things which are coming. We are learning. We are learning on everyday basis. So let's do it for the non-technical skills also, like communication. So as I told you that there can be a activity of role playing exercises. So one person can become a client, one person can give a query, sitting together, one person can provide solution. So likewise, one person can practice active listening to understand the whole scenario. So this all is very much necessary, and when practically done, the confidence is definitely going to increase, right? And after this, you can definitely talk about the improvements which are necessary. So this is definitely going to help make you an effective speaker and an active listener for sure. The final tips which I would like to talk about the effective communication. So suppose there's a client meeting, you know the client, you know what he's coming up with, maybe a GST issue or income tax or an error or audit, whatever. You should always prepare thoroughly. You can always, if you think that it is not, suppose the client is coming with an issue and I'm not able to immediately provide solution, you can always ask the client about the whole scenario on the phone, discuss it, then prepare it thoroughly, and then you actually go for the meeting. Yes, you can definitely do that. It makes you more confident, so let's do that. At least for the freshers and for the people who don't have a lot of experience, you can definitely use this. Second is adapt your communication style to your audience. Many a times what happens is, suppose there's a Gujarati client coming in, you can definitely add that Gujarati touch in the communication to make them feel, "Arey, ye to apna hi hai." We can communicate properly. So that personal touch is very much necessary, I feel. Adapt that communication style of that person who's sitting in front of you. Then stay open to feedback. Always be open to feedback, whether it be positive or negative. If it's negative, you can always work on yourself, and you should work on yourself, because communication, you cannot become a communication guru in like one day or one week. It takes time. There are a lot of things you need to learn, relearn, unlearn. So do that, take the feedback. And last would be, keep improving through consistent practice. As I told you, it's not a matter of one day or one week or 1 year also. You have to keep learning. You being a CA, you have to, your continuous professional education, what we take, what is that? That is continuous learning. Likewise, it is also required in communication, in, listening and all the areas around communication. So have that consistent practice, improve yourself every day, learn every day, and I'm sure you can be a very confident speaker, effective communicator, and definitely an active listener. So thank you so much, everyone. I think this is all what I wanted to share today.
Thank you so much, Priyanka ma'am. This was really insightful. We have few questions from our participants. I'll take them one by one.
Sure.
How to ensure that? May I?
Yes, please. I will just stop sharing the screen. Yes, tell me.
Digital communications are clear, concise, and professional.
Can you just repeat the question? Digital communication?
How to ensure that our digital communications are clear, concise, and professional?
So basically, see, it's a learning process. I feel if I want to write an email, you can always go and learn how to write a professional email, a formal email, an informal email, what points need to be put in that communication, the dates, the deadlines, the issues, what questions were asked, what answers. So it's about learning that process, right? So digitally, for example, a lot of templates are available, as I told you. Email templates are available. Then supposedly, if I am talking on Zoom, I want to take a meeting on Zoom with all my clients. So I have to learn, just learn that process. And you do once or twice, and you can definitely, go about it and be very good at it. So it's all about learning and understanding, and be open to new things which are coming in.
Okay. The next one is how we will understand that the other person is actively listening when we are in a phone call with him where we can't see him as he is nodding his head or not.
Correct. So that's a very good question. I like it. Okay. So supposedly we are on a phone of a telephonic conversation. So what we can do is, supposedly you have made that person understand the concept about, for example, the tax exemption, what we were talking about. So here, to understand is if he's actively listening or not, ask a question, ask a open, not open-ended, but ask a question of that scenario what you've already explained. So if he says, I didn't understand, or see, if he was actively listening, he'll definitely give you an answer. If not right, but at least some part he's going to explain. But if he just says, I don't remember, I don't understand, you will understand that he didn't listen to you and this telephonic conversation was not worth it. So this is how when you're not seeing the person, ask questions and you will understand if he's listening or not.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, Priyanka ma'am, for apprising us.
Thank you
And
so
also
much,
my
Karishma.
gratitude all for taking the time to join this session and making it successful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karishma ma'am, and
Thank,
thank you everyone on the team. It was a
thank
great session.
yeah.
Bye bye.